How's it going, everybody? It's me, Shane. I'm here to give you another Kimetsu no Yaiba episode review and recap. So, it would have been season 2, episode 35, but for some reason, Hulu has actually changed the structure. Literally, they count the first season of Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Mugen Train, and Entertainment Art as three different entities entirely. So technically, I am reviewing episode 3 of the Entertainment arc. So I might start listing them that way down the line. Although that is a mouthful to try to put up on the YouTube title. But yeah, this would be episode 35, but it is also episode 3 of the Entertainment arc, and the episode name is "What Are You?" So before we go into "What Are You?", how about we go into "What Are You Gonna Do For Me?", which is give me a like, a comment, and subscribe. All three of those things actually help out, especially if you're new here. And if you aren't, please hit that notification bell, which is also conveniently in the same place where you subscribe. This episode had a bit to unpack because made me realize a couple things, especially something about Zenitsu, and kind of showed a different side of a character that we've seen for a while. So, allow me to not only explain, but go into it. I'm going to turn down brightness on this thing a little bit. All right, now. So, we get a flashback to the Edo period. It says Edo, but I wonder if it's weird. It says Edo, it's in black and white, and there's a woman who's obviously geisha, and she's talking to another woman, and she stormed into her room, and I guess this is Oi-san, and says, "Hey, ever since you got here, people started to vanish." And this woman looks a lot like the lady that we saw in the last episode, who's getting herself together with the things. It's very funny that you can tell the difference between animated characters, because this doesn't look like the lady that Tanjiro was talking to. And yeah, but all of a sudden she smirks. Lady steps in, door closes, door opens, the lady is gone. And that's where we get our intro. After the intro, we are now in Tokyo, Yashiwara, the district we're in. Same guy who was in the intro that Inosuke had bumped into. He's now going into the Otogomi house where Makio is wrapped up. The demon's trying to get information from her, trying to find out who is she sending those letters to. And at the same time, at the Kyogoku house, Zenitsu remembers that he's supposed to be finding Hinatsuru, one of the wives of Tengen Uzio. Here's the thing: he's saying he almost forgot who he was. How can improving his shamisen and koto skills help? It's not gonna help. But he's been listening. He hasn't heard a word about Hinatsuru. Remember Zenitsu is. I always show this every time. He's the hearing boy, he's the smelling boy, and he is the feeling boy. So, of our five senses, hearing, touch, and smell. Hmm. I wonder who's taste. I wonder who's actually taste. I wonder who's taste, and I wonder who's sight. See, sight would be cool. It would be cool if sight is actually a blind person. But now that I think about it, sight could be what's the girl that trains with Shinobu, Konoha, I think that's her name. I can't remember her name, but you all know who I'm talking about. So anyhow, 2 days ago, the owner of the house died. We already remember that, but we get an image of her body in the street laid out. Some people say that it's a suicide, but no one's talking about it in the house. Everyone's being tight-lipped, and people are just gloomy. So everyone's moving around, and Zenitsu's hearing different. He stops and focuses. He's hearing different conversations, but he hears a young girl crying. So he's gonna make a beeline for it. Meanwhile, the demon who is tied up, Mikio, pardon me, has tied up Mikio, can actually hear Inosuke on his way, which is just crazy because Inosuke is pretty far, not super far away, but it's far enough away that a normal demon probably wouldn't be able to excuse me, hear him coming. Um, where am I at here? So Mikio's trying to figure out how she can even go to tell Tengen what's going on. Demon strings her up at the top, grips at her midsection. She has muffled screams and says, "If you make a single sound, I will completely pulverize you. Just pulverize all her organs." Right? Well, Inosuke can see the food, and he's like, "Okay, I'm getting a creepy, slimy vibe here." And then he just gets frustrated. He's like, "Wait a minute, I can't. I'm not the thinking guy," which he's not. He's not the thinking guy. Nothing's gonna happen if he doesn't go. So he runs in, and he opens up, and in this room, it's just looks old. Like there's stuff against the windows that has it closed in and everything. And he thinks to himself, he's like, "Wait a minute, there's a wind blowing in here, but the windows are closed." And he's looking around. He's like, "There's dust." And he looks up. He takes that bowl of ramen, throws it to the ceiling. He's like, "I got you, you bastard. I know you're up there." Demon's making a beeline for it, just running. And he says, "Okay, it's the daytime. That means, um, that they're moving through the attic and around through the walls." And it's doing it. It's moving. He's able to closely follow. He's telling people to get out of his way. Doesn't mind using his real voice now that he's trying to get to this demon. And he's touching the ground. He can feel it. He knows it's gonna be right at this juncture. He cocks back his fist. He's ready to break through. The same guy that walked in there gets punched in the face. And Inosuke, keeps running down the steps. He's like, "Oh, it's actually going down. It's not going further up." And Inosuke's complaining because he says all these clothes on him is dulling his senses. On top of that, everyone being around him is not helping at all. But he was able, through his touch, he can see the cloth that we all see. Slide down to my notes. So at the same time, Zenitsu comes into this trashed room, and this girl is crying. She looks like she's been hit, and he asks if she's okay. Did she get in a fight? And he's loud about it. But first he goes, "Look, I'm not mad at you or anything. I'm just trying to see if you're in trouble." And then the woman is behind him. First of all, guys, I love this show so much because of how the eyes are. Uh, I like to draw a bit. I'm not good at it at all, but one of the first things I have been doing over years, I always like to draw eyes. So when I'm watching animes, I pay attention to eyes. The eyes in the show are great because they tell you a lot. You know who is an important character or who might be an important character by looking at their eyes. And her eyes are, it looks like a literal spike. If you ever anybody ever play Quake or no Quake, look up the Quake symbol. It looks like a freaking railroad spike in this demon's eyes, and without him having to turn around, he can hear. Because she's asked, "What are you doing in my room?" And he can hear it. Zenitsu's like, "Yeah, normal humans don't sound like that." He can just tell from an instant that this is a demon. He can also tell, "Holy crap, this is also an upper rank demon." So her name is supposed to be Warubi Hime and Orion, and the other two girls. And it's funny because this house has its own set of triplets, just like at the Butterfly Mansion. And two of them are saying like, "Hey, she's new. She doesn't know what's going on." And she has this deep, she has not a deep voice, but how to put it, there is a certain, when you think of voice acting, think of a mature woman's voice, right? Not old woman, not a woman in her 40s, but someone sounding in their 30s, someone sounding commanding. We all know the kind of bitchy voices that we've heard before, and not high pitch at all. This voice is very serious, deathly serious. And she's telling the girls it doesn't matter that she's new. And now she's running. She's running Zenitsu down, talking about, "You're ugly. What's up with your hair? You really want to stand out that much?" Um, so she's told that little girl she's supposed to clean up this room. She picks her up by her ear to the point that now the girl is starting to bleed. And at this point, Zenitsu grabs her arm and says, "Can you let her down, please?" And she's like, "What did you say?" I'm thinking in my head, I love this. Zenitsu is straight up a coward. But he's like, "I'm not gonna sit up here and watch you rip this girl's ear off. So, and then I even wrote my notes. They're meeting the villain super early. Like for something that's supposed to be a bit of an espionage mission. Granted that I know this is episode 3. I didn't think I didn't think we would get to see the villain at the end of episode 2. I was thinking that maybe somewhere around now at the end of this episode, but damn. And at the Tokido house, Tanjiro was just Tanjiro's just having the time of his life. Kinda. He's cleaned up everything. He's doing everything perfectly. He's done everything that there needs to be done. That to the fact that the madam of the house is like, damn, you really are hardworking and diligent. Um, and he keeps saying, "What's next? What's next? What's next?" And she's like, "Shut up, so I can think of something." And gives him to fix the sliding doors. And Inosuke is going to be in trouble because he smashed the wall. So the madam of the house is looking for Inoko and look this position up in yoga. He's doing the scorpion position. Dude's on his, it's like a plank, but his legs are above his head. So he's doing this and he's trying to get the feel of everything because his forearms and his feet are the one parts of his body that aren't particularly covered up. And he's trying to feel around. He's like, I can't feel them anymore. I don't know where this thing went. Um, oops. And next notes. The madam is shocked. Where did I get from there to there? I didn't even get here. Oh, the madam was actually shocked to see him doing this. And now we have back to the standoff between Zenitsu and the demon. He's not backing up. He's like, what did you say? He's like, can you please let her go? And her whole thing is like, I didn't give you permission to touch me. Backhands him. And right when she backhands him, we get a flash to 2 days before. The lady of that house had confronted her. Don't this is this? I do not think this is the same lady from back in the Edo period. And she says, stop causing people to get hurt and cause ashinuke and suicide. And she's saying, you bully them so badly that they kill themselves. And you know, the there we go. The lady in the house was like, I've looked the other way for too long. I can't look that way anymore. And once she doesn't, once Warubi Hime doesn't get the answer that she was looking for, because she was saying, what if I did these things to these people if they annoyed me? She then, that voice turns into that deeper, sinister voice that Zenitsu had to deal with, calling her old lady, which is Baba, right? Which is a really, really derogatory term. That there's a way of calling old people. It's also in the tone in which you say Baba, but yeah, called her straight up old lady, old hag actually. And the madam was saying, when I was a young girl, an older lady told me a story about an Orient who was beautiful but super twisted. She also saw this same Orient when she was a young girl and when she was in her middle ages. And the thing is, back in that day, Orients would take last names that had Hime in it. And it was a particular way that they did things because whenever you would annoy them, they would crick their neck to the side and look down on you, much like how this woman that we know is the demon is doing to the madam of the house. Madam of the house has a knife behind her back. So, and the little example they gave us was a ukiyo painting that had Yata Hime on it. Pardon me. And if anything happened they didn't like, they would correct their next to the seconds in to the side, and it's something very unique to Orients of that era. And she's saying, "Who are you?" Could be that you're not human. She's ready to stab her, but in that split second, the candle goes out, the windows open, and above the floor of that district, the floor above the ground of that district, high above, even above the buildings, the demon has her wrapped up in her cloth, holding her face and saying, you know, you should really keep your mouth shut about things like that when you realize it. It's smart to do that to survive. That's how everybody has survived up to this point. And it's funny because I'm guessing most of the people because she mentioned earlier, who brings in money in this house for you to live, right? Most of the madams have probably been ignoring seeing the same woman over decades, never age. And the demon, she says that's not everybody's lesson now, but apparently you're far stupider than everybody else, and that's a pity. Now we see her eyes. It's revealed that she is the upper six demon. And she's like, don't worry, I'm not going to eat you. I don't eat anything that's dirty or ugly or old. So she literally just drops her. And that's how the lady fell. And of course, everybody was assuming suicide, saying, oh, did she jump? Blah, blah, blah. So, but this demon's walking across the rooftops. And I think it's kind of weird. Maybe it's because it's like a bustling kind of cityscape. Even though it's crazy, there was a person walking by when she fell, and it took them a couple seconds to turn around. But the moon is at the upper six's back. Like, the moon is above. There's no way she doesn't cast a shadow, right? Who doesn't look up in the sky? Regardless, and I wrote my notes, this individual, I didn't say individual, I said the B word, has been doing this for a long time. At least at this point, she's done this for two people's lifetimes. So, the moment she gets through the door with her little ninja outfit, because she basically has a unitard and then the little, what am I looking for? The cloths behind her. Muzan, in the same form we saw him when Tanjiro saw him. Muzan's sitting there and says, she can tell she's been eating scores of humans and getting stronger. And she's instantly on her hands and knees. Instantly. She calls him Master Muzan and everything. He tells her, don't let your guard down. The more things go your way, the more apt you are to getting the rug pulled under you. I'm still wondering, how did he go from that body to a fine woman's body to a little boy's body? I'm still wondering, how did he even manage that? That he's some kind of shapeshifter who's died going between families, or maybe he's killing these families and just continue to moving on. Maybe he's using their resources. I wouldn't put it past him. He is a son of a bitch. Um, so now, she says she understands everything he said, and she says he says a skilled member of the demon corps, Hashira, can recognize demons right away, which they can. They really, really can. And on the other hand, those known as Hashira, demons can't tell who they are at a glance. They can't distinguish. They can distinguish blood type, disease, and genes, things that humans have no knowledge of. He reveals her name. Her name is Daki, and he says he has high hopes for her. Known as beautiful or strong as she is, she has killed 7 Hashiras. This is probably over her tenure of being this bitchy demon. Oops, I don't know what's went away. Um, and he says she's gonna be more powerful from here on out, and she's gonna become even more cruel. An extraordinary demon. It's at this point that we see her backhand Zenitsu, and my man's went flying through several of those sliding doors. And she said, "Don't you dare touch me." Now the man of the house is asking, Handy's asking her to forgive her, you know, please, he's just asking to help him save face. Customers are going to be coming in soon, and her attitude and voice and face did a complete 180. She goes to the smiling, higher, friendlier voice. She's one of those scary, bitchy characters. I can't remember if I've seen this. I didn't see it in the anime. I saw it in a tokusatsu. I saw it in a Kamen Rider, where a character has the "oh, woe is me" nice voice, and then they get the deep voice when they're evil and they got in their plans. Blah 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 blah. She pulls a 180 and it's scary. And she says, "Oh, maybe I treated the new girl too harshly. Just clean up all this stuff." And this guy's just like, "Hey, clean all this stuff up. Just don't get in her way and don't irritate her." And she says in her mind, back to her evil her eyes, her little spike eyes. She says that she can tell that he just has minor uh, injuries, And even though he's blacked out, he's in a defensive position. Zenitsu's flat on his back. As we, the viewers, know, Zenitsu's whole shtick is if he's unconscious, that's when his body goes into battle mode, right? But none of our guys have their blades in these houses. Pretty sure if Zenitsu had his blade, he'd be able to something. So she can tell he's from the Demon Courts and not a Hashira. Um, and she's back in these quarters with the two other young girls, I guess, tending to her, biting the thing they used to do is, press their lips against paper to make sure they get any excess lipstick off. And she's basically saying, "Bring them all to me. She's gonna kill and devour all of them." And I was like, "Shit!" And Tanjiro looks up in the sky and he says, "There's a murky scent in this city. He can smell it." And I have a theory. Just give me a second. And we get our outro. And I'm like, "Damn. All right, here we go." But that's not it. That's not over. And the outro, Zenko-chan gets woken up by the three little ones. The one that got attacked by her thanks him for saving her. And he does his whole shtick where he's like, "I always will save a damsel in distress," but I'm not a guy. By the way, this is the second time he said this in this conversation with them. He's not a guy, and anybody would say that. Well, he's the eldest daughter of his family. Yeah, that's right, and he's selfish and all this other shit. And they flat out say, "No, you're not. You the most kind-hearted person that's come through here. Everybody else is actually looking out for themselves, but you." And he's touched by their words. They give him a cool cloth and they had some food for him. And, they said, just rest up. And they leave him there. And while he's waving goodbye to them, the cloths come from behind him, snatch his ass up. Damn. Him passing out, honestly, was probably the best thing to happen to him. We do get a little thing at the end. It's called Tales of the Demon Slayer Academy Christmas Arc. Zenitsu's in a white suit. He invited Nezuko to a Christmas party, which is just the two of them. He plans on proposing to her so they can go from party to wedding seamlessly. There's a wedding cake there and everything. And Nezuko knocks on the door. He comes there, and of course she's not alone. It's Inosuke. For some reason, he has a spear. It's Tanjiro, who's for some reason wearing a full suit of samurai armor. And it's Giyu, who is looking the most normal. He has a suit. And Nezuko, she looks adorable, and she has a piece of bread in her mouth. A literal piece of bread, like a pan, like pan with like the French bread. Not a long one, but a short one. I guess to simulate her muzzle, because it'll be weird if we see her without anything blocking her mouth until we figure out if she can get healed or not. But very funny episode. He's saying, "Why are you all here?" And Inosuke doesn't know what the hell Christmas is. Um, but yeah. Oh, and Nesco does a little laugh, which is cute. We don't get a title for the next episode like we did for this one. I don't know if there's any anime going to be appearing next weekend because, as you all know, it's Christmas. So, and Japanese do celebrate Christmas. They enjoy Christmas just like everyone else who celebrates the holiday. So yeah, I don't really grade Demon Slayer episodes. I would say this is a pretty average one. It's not bad, but it's one of those episodes that's leaving me on the edge of my seat because I'm thinking to myself now, what in the world is gonna happen next? And actually, a real funny thing for you guys is um, someone it has been compared a long time ago. Uzio's three wives, each of them represent one of the three boys. So the blonde one, Makio, who's already captured, she's Zenitsu. Look who's just got captured. The blue hair one, which I believe is Hinatsuru. She has blue hair, much like Inosuke, and the other young lady has the same reddish hair. Uh, Suma, Suma. Her name is Suma. Here is and you want to know another interesting thing? Look at this, guys. Isn't that interesting? Tanjiro's always on this side, which is technically the left side. He's always on the left side, while usually those who are with him are on that side. But look at that. Same side. Maybe it's because Tengen is just super buff. I wish I had saved that picture that had showed how all three of them look like his wives. It's trip. Oh, I did save it. Look at me. Look at this. Look how trippy that is. That's funny. And the two at the bottom are the ones that just got captured. That's funny. But yeah, guys, please let me know what you thought of the episode. This one was kind of average by Demon Slayer standards, which is not a bad thing at all. I just don't know how they're gonna beat this. How are you gonna beat this demon? Can move around this crowded city at night. My theory is that over the years has found a way to connect all three of the houses together so that, all right, it looks kind of suspicious that people from this one house keeps dying. I'm gonna go to another one, kill and eat some folks. Go to another one, kill and eat some fine young ladies. Yeah, but again, let me know what you think. Comment section down below. Don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new here. Hit the notification bell if you aren't new here. Either way it goes, please share the video so others can see what a great time we're having. As always, I'm very, very thankful for you taking some time out to spend some time with me. Please, be good, be blessed, wash your hands, wear a mask, be safe out there, be good to yourself, be good to others. Either way it goes, don't be a jerk. It's Christmas. And I will definitely see you guys next time. Hey, but if I don't see you next week, remember, have a safe and joyous holiday, no matter who you are. By the way, you aren't alone. So if you think you're alone on the holidays, you aren't. There's online communities. There's tons of people that will probably love to hang out with you or just talk to you. So don't forget that. See ya.